presenting the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia. So first, why don't you meet me in the thought bubble? First, Sumeria. They brought the first language called cuneiform, and their society was made up of a social hierarchy that was prominent throughout. So cuneiform, dating back almost 3,500 BC, was the first written language ever. Experts have finally depicted each of the shapes into our own alphabet. This type of language was said to be the basis for all. They would have used this language to record crop yields and local problems in the community. Also in Sumeria was the difference in social equality. There was a bound order to what was acceptable in society. For example, in this picture, commoners respecting nobles. Next, the society was made up into four main sections: the nobles, free clients, commoners, and slaves. Obviously, each group kept with each other, and nobles would not associate with slaves, for example. However, in this era, slaves were not treated terribly, but were instead almost like family, and workers who never got paid. Now you may be wondering about free commoners and clients. Well, they fall into the middle class. They didn't really live exciting lives. Most of them had jobs. Commoners, most likely farmers, and free clients, scribes, teachers, etc., high jobs. So next, let's move on to the Hittites. The Hittites explored a new type of city. They used hieroglyphic style of language, and their kingdom fell from the constant attack of their aggressive neighbors. The Hittites made a new style of wall technology, making a fortress city. They used walls that were 10 feet high to keep invaders out, that also had a surrounding citadel. Secondly, the Hittites also made use of a new language. They utilized a hieroglyphic style of writing. The beginning of the language can date back to 2500 BC, and experts can conclude that the language progressed from a simple glyphs style of writing to a more advanced style of language at around 1400 BC, when the empire was at a decline. And lastly, for the Hittites, they fell due to the ransacking and constant assault from their neighboring sea peoples and the Assyrians. So, finally, let's move on to the killers themselves, the Assyrians. They embraced warfare as a people, and they fell from corruption due to the lack of leadership. The Assyrians were a war people at heart. They conquered from today Iraq down to Turkey, all the way through Egypt. And the reason behind their success was their weapon technology. Their weapons helped them dominate their enemies. And secondly, they also were nationalistic people on warfare. Most people in their society agreed and contributed to when to expand their empire. And lastly, about the Assyrians was the fall of their empire. Assyria fell when their great leader Ashur-bani-pal died in 627 BCE. Without a prominent leader, the capital city Ashur fell too. And the Assyrians slowly faded into history. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week.
Created using Powtoon.